Welcome to my channel. I hope you enjoy watching.
Week 1. The first entry, September 3rd evening, started this journal on the recommendation of my therapist. She says writing down my thoughts might help with the stress I've been reporting. I told her the job isn't stressful. I love the job, but she insists that isolation can affect people in ways they don't recognize. So fine, I'll keep a journal. Maybe it'll be interesting to look back on in a few years. Labor Day weekend is finally over. The last of the campers cleared out this afternoon, and I did my usual rounds making sure everything was locked up properly, no fires still smoldering, no trash left to attract bears. The forest feels different now, quieter, more itself. During summer, it's almost like the trees are just scenery for human recreation. But in fall and winter, the forest remembers what it really is. Found something odd at Campsite 7 though. Someone had carved symbols into one of the picnic tables, not the usual initials or crude drawings, but actual symbols. Geometric patterns, almost like runes or something. They'd done it recently too, probably over the weekend. The wood was still fresh where they'd cut. I took a photo to file a vandalism report, but honestly, it's pretty intricate work. Almost looks deliberate, meaningful, like someone was trying to communicate something. Weather's supposed to turn tomorrow. First rain of the season. I'm looking forward to it. The forest smells better in the rain. September 4th. Morning, woke up to the sound of rain on the cabin roof. Perfect. Made coffee and sat on the porch watching the storm roll through. This is why I took this job, moments like this, where it's just me and the weather and the trees and nothing else matters. Headed out around 10 a.m. to check the trails. Rain makes them treacherous in places, and I needed to see if any trees had come down overnight. Took the North Loop, which runs about 8 miles through some of the denser sections of forest. About 3 miles in, I had the strangest feeling. You know that sensation when you're certain someone's watching you? I've felt it before. Usually it's deer or elk observing from a distance, sometimes a curious black bear. But this felt different. More intense, more deliberate. I stopped and scanned the tree line. Nothing. Just rain and trees and the sound of water dripping from leaves. But the feeling persisted, so strong that I actually called out, "Hello? Anyone there?" My voice sounded thin in all that space, swallowed by the forest. No response, obviously. I continued my hike, but I couldn't shake the sensation. Several times I turned around quickly, expecting to see someone behind me. Never saw anything, just trees. Found another set of those symbols carved into a tree about 5 miles in. Same style as the ones on the picnic table, geometric, precise, deliberate. Why would someone hike 5 miles into the forest just to carve symbols into a tree? And in the rain, no less? I'm probably overthinking this. Likely just some occult enthusiast or someone who thinks they're practicing magic or whatever. Not my business as long as they're not damaging the forest too badly. September 5th. Evening, something strange happened today, and I'm writing it down even though I'm sure there's a rational explanation. I was doing paperwork in the station when I heard what sounded like children laughing. This isn't that unusual. Sometimes hikers bring kids, even on weekdays, but it was odd because I hadn't seen any cars in the parking area. I went outside to check, maybe welcome them, make sure they knew the trails. No one. The parking area was empty except for my truck. But I could still hear the laughter, distant but clear, coming from somewhere in the forest to the east. I called out, asking if anyone needed help, if anyone was there. The laughter stopped immediately. Not gradually, just cut off like someone had flipped a switch. And then that feeling again, that sensation of being watched, but amplified. It felt like there were eyes on me from every direction, from between every tree. I went back inside and locked the door. Which is stupid. I never lock the door during the day. What am I afraid of? It's just a forest. I've been working here for 6 years. I know every trail, every landmark, every quirk of this place. But I kept the door locked anyway. September 6th. Night, I think I'm not sleeping well. That might explain the odd feelings, the paranoia. I should probably take a day off, drive into town, have dinner somewhere with other people around, remind myself that the world exists beyond these trees. But I don't want to leave. That's the weird part. Despite the strange feelings, despite the unexplained laughter, despite those unsettling symbols showing up everywhere, I don't want to leave. It's like the forest is pulling at me, insisting I stay and witness whatever's happening. Went out tonight with a flashlight to check on something I'd heard branches breaking, like something large moving through the underbrush. Bears sometimes get bold this time of year, fattening up for hibernation. I wasn't worried, just cautious. The sound was coming from near the old fire tower, about half a mile from the station. I followed it, sweeping my flashlight beam across the trees. The sound stopped when I got close, but I found something else. Footprints, but not animal prints. Human footprints, barefoot, in the mud near the tower's base. They were large, easily sized 13 or 14 in deep, like whoever made them was very heavy. But here's the strange part. The prints appeared suddenly, as if the person had materialized in that spot. No trail leading to them, no trail leading away. Just those prints, impossibly alone in the mud. I took photos, I measured them. I tried to find some logical explanation. Maybe I'd missed the trail in the dark? Maybe the rain had washed away the other prints? But I searched the area thoroughly and there was nothing. Just those prints, appearing from nowhere. I came back to the station and I've been sitting here for the past 2 hours, staring at the photos on my camera, trying to make sense of what I saw. There's a rational explanation. There has to be. I just haven't figured it out yet. September 7th. Morning, didn't sleep at all last night. Every time I started to drift off, I'd hear something outside. Footsteps on the porch, tapping on the windows, the sound of someone trying the door handle. But every time I checked, there was nothing. No one. Just darkness and trees and the wind. I'm sitting here now, watching the sunrise, drinking my 4th cup of coffee, and I'm trying to decide whether I am experiencing some kind of breakdown or if something genuinely strange is happening in this forest. The logical part of my brain says it's isolation-induced paranoia. I've been alone out here for months, and the human mind isn't designed for that much solitude. It starts creating threats, inventing scenarios, populating the emptiness with imagined dangers. But another part of me, a part one usually ignore, keeps thinking about those footprints, about the symbols carved into wood, about the children's laughter that stopped too abruptly, about the persistent feeling of being watched. I think I need to do some research, see if there's any history associated with this forest, any stories or legends or reported incidents. Maybe other rangers have experienced similar things. Maybe there's a pattern I'm missing. September 8th, evening, I drove into town today. Needed supplies anyway, but also needed to use the library's internet. The station has satellite internet, but it's slow and unreliable. I wanted to do proper research. I searched for Rosswood National Forest strange occurrences and found more than I expected. There's a whole forum dedicated to unexplained phenomena in national forests, and Rosswood has its own thread. People reporting missing time, strange sounds, feelings of being watched. Several mentions of seeing a tall figure in the trees, though descriptions vary. One post from 3 years ago really caught my attention. A hiker claimed to have photographed something in the background of his trail photos, a tall, thin figure that he didn't remember seeing when he took the pictures. He posted the photos and you can barely make it out, but there's definitely something there. Something tall and dark and wrong somehow, standing between trees in the distance. The hiker never posted again after that. His account went silent. Several people in the thread tried to contact him, but he never responded. I probably shouldn't have read that forum. Now I'm back at the station, and it's getting dark, and every shadow looks like it might be something more than a shadow. I keep telling myself this is foolish. The mind sees patterns, creates narratives, finds threats where none exist. That's Human Psychology 101. The hiker probably just lost interest in the forum, moved on with his life. The tall figure in his photos is probably just a tree or a play of light and shadow. Probably. September 9th. Night I saw it. Him. The operator. The Slenderman. Whatever name you want to give it, I saw it tonight, and I need to write this down while it's fresh because already the memory is becoming slippery, hard to hold on to. I was outside, checking the generator. It's been making odd noises lately, and I wanted to make sure it wasn't about to fail. It was around 8 p.m., full dark, and I had my flashlight. I was bent over the generator when that feeling hit me again, stronger than ever before. The certainty that someone was watching. I turned around, and my flashlight beam swept across the tree line about 50 yards away, and there it was, standing between two pine trees. Impossibly tall, maybe 8 or 9 feet. Impossibly thin, like someone had stretched a person vertically until they were grotesquely elongated. Wearing what looked like a black suit, and no face. Where its face should have been, there was just blankness. Smooth white skin with no features, no eyes or nose or mouth, just an expanse of nothing. I froze. I couldn't move, couldn't breathe, couldn't think. We stood like that for what felt like an eternity, but was probably only seconds. The figure didn't move either. It just stood there, impossibly tall, impossibly still, watching me with a face that had no eyes. Then I blinked. Just a normal, involuntary blink. And when my eyes opened again, it was gone. Not hiding, not running away, just gone, as if it had never been there. I ran inside, locked every door and window. And I've been sitting here ever since, trying to convince myself that what I saw wasn't real, that it was a trick of shadows and fear and sleep deprivation. But I know what I saw. And I know, with a certainty that terrifies me, that it saw me too.
And this is the end. Thank you for listening. Good night.